Hi everybody, it's Christina Quick. Let me get us pinned to the announcement section and then I will introduce myself. Okay, pinned to featured. And I've got my phone on me just in case I don't see comments. So I should have a way to see comments. Hi Michelle. Hi Betty, welcome. Good to see you guys. Hope you guys are doing well. Happy Monday. Happy start of the Psychic Business Success Summit. I hope you guys are just as excited to be here as I am. Hi, Iris. Good to see you. Oh my gosh, everybody's coming in now. Hi, everybody. If you are here, let us know you're here. Comment and let us know you're here and where you're watching from. Let us know about you. Are you a tarot reader? Are you a psychic reader? Are you an astrologist? Are you a spiritual life coach? Are you a yoga instructor? What is it that you do? Are you a psychic medium? Hey, Marissa. Okay, hi, Lindsay. Hi. Welcome, everybody. We're just going to give everybody a couple seconds to come in. We're not quite at 1 p.m. I came in just a little early so we can make sure everybody's here on time. Hi, Lauren. Good to see you. So many familiar faces. So hi, I am Christina Quick. I am also known as the Tarot Biz Mentor online. I have been a professional tarot reader, astrologist, and psychic since 2011. So I'm going to share a little bit about my story, and I'm also going to share a little bit about how I got into business coaching, why I decided to start teaching marketing, and today I'm going to be sharing with you some really important information about how to start attracting soulmate clients. A lot of you are professional psychics, spiritual life coaches, astrologers, mediums, so on and so forth. But one thing that we all have in common is that initial hurdle of learning how to attract the right clients for our business, the right clients for our energy, for our aura, for around our ethics, our values, our beliefs. That's really where, in my opinion, the true health and wealth of our business lies. Especially if you are a light worker, you identify as being a light worker, someone who is here to transmute, alchemize, lower negative vibration energies, beliefs, thought patterns, things like trauma, things like PTSD, things like low self-image, low self-esteem, things like finding your soul's purpose. If that all sounds good to you, then you are in the right place. Oh, hi, Kara. Good to see you. Hey, Mama says Smoky Mountains. Nice. Minneapolis. Okay. We have energy medicine practitioners. Hi, Star. Kara, Pacific Northwest, Sylvan Shamanic Arts Practitioner, and Kara is a very, very good Qigong instructor as well. Okay, Iris, you do spiritual mentorship and you work with the angelic realm. I also worked with the angelic realm, but that was a primary aspect of my business for a very, very, very long time. So I am feeling you right there. Hi, Kyle. Betty says she is not only a reader, an empath, and a witch, but also a tarot and oracle card deck creator, and she's becoming a spiritual life coach and Reiki healers. We have so many talented people here. Wow. Hi, Casey. Hi, Christine. Hi, Nate. Good to see you. Hey, Jen. Okay, so we have 15 people here. So let's go ahead and get started. I only have an hour to talk. If you know me at all, you know that that's really hard for me to keep it down to an hour. So I have some notes here. I'm going to keep ourselves on track. I am like the queen of tangents. Literally, I love business. I love being a psychic. I love being a witch. I love being an energy healer. This is my life. So a little bit about myself. So I started out not really knowing what I wanted to do in life. Didn't feel that the college route was very good for me. I started college, but then I dropped out and I was like, I don't really know what I want to do with my life, right? So I think a lot of us have been there. Or maybe you've already graduated college and you're not really sure how you want to use your degree, or you're like, did I even want to do this? And then so I dropped out of college and then I went to beauty school because I knew I wanted to do something creative and I wanted to help people. I didn't feel like I had the guts to be a nurse, even though that probably would have been a good career path. I just didn't feel like that particular avenue was going to be good for me, but I wanted to help people, and I've always been creative. I've always been an artist, and so I decided to go to hair school because it was like $10,000 in 1 year of my life, and then I could start making really good money. So went to hair school, floated around in that. I was probably 17, 18 when I went to hair school. So by the time I graduated, I was probably 18, 19. And then I just started working in salons. I moved my way up from, just working as like a pedicure girl, and then moving on up to, actually doing hair and doing facials. And then I was an esthetician for a little while, also dabbled in a little bit of massage therapy. A lot of us are probably massage therapists or work with energy in a physical way, and then I kind of bounced around from job to job because the thing that I didn't like about the salon world and really just working for other people was the unpredictability of the job. I don't know if you can relate to this, but businesses go out of business all the time. And so it really sucks to like literally build your own business up off someone else's business. And then, something happens where the business closes, or, I just had really weird things happening, and like, people go bankrupt and things like that. So it seemed like every time I would start to get somewhere in life, my fate would be designed by other people. Like businesses would close down, or I would have bosses decide to just not pay me. They would start bouncing checks. And then, my clients are frustrated. So I was like, okay, I've got to get out of this. I've got to figure out how I'm going to be in charge of my own life and how I'm going to be in charge of my own destiny. Because at that point I was very, very ill. I had high blood pressure. I was type 2 diabetic. I had stress fractures in my feet from wearing heels all day, every day. I started developing things like carpal tunnel and arthritis, and, an aggravated rotator cuff from, cutting and doing scissors and clippers all day. So I was like, okay, I need to do something. So I worked on my escape plan. My escape plan was to exit my salon. I managed 3 locations of a men's barber shop, where it was like kind of like a showroom as well. We also had, it was really cool. It was a really cool place. We had like a bar, we had pool tables, we had entertainments, and all while movies and all kinds of stuff while you could get your hair cut. So I loved the business. However, I found out that it was a front for an illegal operation, and they ended up closing it and going bankrupt. And then that happened like right after I had quit that job. So thank you, God, for, sending me these ideas while they did, because that was a very weird time in my life that I really had to rely on my faith over than my logical thinking, right? I had to listen to my heart because my intuition was telling me something is wrong, something's wrong. You need to make a move. So I was like, okay. Well, I had a lot of experience with formulating products. So the first business that I started, actually, this was in 2009, I believe. It was a product-based business. And I specialized in creating products for the salon. So I would create things like shaving bars, and I would create things like shampoos and lotions, and I would concoct these really nice specialty high-end luxury kind of products, and we would sell them at the salon, and I would get a 30% commission minus the cost of supplies, right? So whatever 30% of profit was. And so I had been doing that, but the problem is that as soon as I left the salon, I no longer had a place to stock the product, right? So what I ended up having to do is I set up an Etsy store. Well, unfortunately, I didn't know much about marketing at that time, and I had literally like thousands of dollars worth of product, expirable product with a shelf life. These things go bad, they don't last forever, that I couldn't sell. And so then I had to think, and I had to act really, really fast, because my car got repossessed. We got evicted from our apartment. My father-in-law passed away. We had to take, he had a stroke, and then he passed away a couple years later, but we had to take over everything with him. And I was a 25-year-old child, dealing with all this. So I was in the garage one day and I was just going through my things, and I had packed a bunch of stuff away that because I had moved from Arizona to Missouri, right? So I'm in Missouri now, I'm in Kansas City. So I had packed all my witchy stuff away and all that kind of stuff and kind of just forgot about it. Well, I'm going through the garage because my husband's father had passed away, and I was going through like all his stuff and my stuff, and I happened to find my tarot deck. Now, my tarot deck was the Mythic Tarot by Liz Green, I believe. And it's one of the, early, I think it was a 1980s tarot deck, but it's based on the Greek myth. And so, I started remembering, I was like, I remember those commercials from the 90s with Miss Cleo, like call the psychic hotline. I was like, I wonder if that is a thing that exists, because I was in so much debt at that point, and I was in a bad place financially, mentally, physically. I was like, I need to find something I can do to work from home. So 2012 rolls around. I am officially completely working from home, not relying on any outside jobs or anything like that. I get hired on Keen, which is a psychic hotline. Now, I had, at that time, you have to think minimum wage was probably something like $7 an hour, $8 an hour, if that. $8 an hour would have been good, right? So it was either go get a job flipping burgers, or go to the, go up to the gas station while I'm looking for a salon, or try out this psychic hotline thing. So I tried out the psychic hotline thing. Within a couple hours, I had made my first 20 bucks and I was hooked. Then I realized that everything that I thought I knew about the reality, everything I thought I knew about the life path that we're all supposed to take, these paths of go to school, go to college, get a regular muggle job, work for someone else, make them rich, hope that you get a 401k, hope that you get insurance and all that kind of stuff, which is really hard to get nowadays. It's just almost impossible. So a lot of us, and you have to think, this is pre-COVID, this is pre-pandemic, right? Now, since COVID, this has been a little bit more normalized, but back then, this was a very fringe concept, working from home as a psychic on a psychic hotline. People thought I was nuts. They thought I was crazy. They thought I was scamming people. They thought I was a fraud. They had this conception that, I just I just went off and joined a cult or something like that. And people were very, very worried about me for a little while, but then I had to prove to myself that I could do it. And I started working on the psychic hotlines. I did that for a couple years. Then I moved on to Etsy, did that for a couple years. And then from there, I was able to build up between the psychic hotlines and Etsy and just, meeting people and networking. I was able to, over the course of about 4 years, build up enough of a following in which I could then start selling courses, and I could start creating ebooks, and I could start also making money, not just trading my time for money, not just doing readings for people or doing spiritual consulting for people, but actually making money from my creative efforts and my creative processes, which for me, that's when I started coming out of depression. That's when I started healing anxiety. That's when I started healing my blood pressure. That's when I started healing my type 2 diabetes. That's when I started actually getting more active in my life. That's when I broke that threshold of life is meaningless. It's all a grind. There's no such thing as God or spirit. We're all in this to suffer. And then it's like a light bulb went off, and I understood finally what it means to have a higher purpose, what it means to help people. And I don't think that I could have had this understanding if I never would have taken a chance on psychic work as being a lucrative and profitable and very valid career choice, right? So I'm sure a lot of you out there who are listening right now kind of struggle with this thought. And I think a lot of it is because you haven't quite cracked the code when it comes to client generation. Now, when you are starting out in your business and you are starting out and you're, say, a tarot reader or a psychic medium, or you read oracle cards or something along those lines, you do Reiki, okay? I think in the beginning, at least in the first 4 years or so, in retrospect, now, Also, keep in mind that not only have I been a professional full-time psychic since 2011, 2012, but I have also had almost 25 years in e-commerce, just to give you an idea of how long that I have been selling online, following e-commerce, following trends, learning marketing, learning how to sell online. Okay, I was there for the birth of PayPal, all right? I was among the very first grouping of people that got to beta test PayPal. My PayPal account is like 25 years old, okay? I was also there for the birth of eBay. I was there also for the birth of Etsy. I did commerce in these times, pre-PayPal, pre-eBay, pre-Etsy. So when I say I know how hard it is to market and what really matters, I know. And the platforms that I choose to highlight for you guys and tell you, go to these platforms, go to Etsy, go to the psychic hotlines, right? If you don't have clients, this is like easy street. This is easy mode for your business, okay? So I got to that point, and then I started getting into I tended to have a really good knack for marketing. I tended to have a really good knack for being able to attract what I call soulmate clients, right? Clients that want to do the transformative work with us. And that's, I think, what is one of the biggest distinctions of what it means to be a soulmate client versus what it means to just attract clients. Now, I know and I understand where you are at, because in the beginning, you're like, anybody with an open wallet is your potential client because you're in that I need money zone, right? So if you are in the I need money zone, I need capital, I need to make finances right now, then you're going to want to check out the Psychic Hotlines, which I have a group for that, Psychic Hotline School. Just type it into the search bar, or you can revisit this and you can get my links after the training is ended. And then go on Etsy. I have a free on YouTube, a free miniature course, video course that talks about how to start selling psychic readings on Etsy. Now, you get on those two platforms, you follow those two strategies, that's going to provide you 70% of your immediate, what we call low-hanging fruit, the easy clients that are there that you don't have to work too hard to get, okay? Now, you do that for a while, like I did, and you start to realize, maybe this really isn't exactly what I thought it was going to be. How many of you have gotten into doing tarot readings and you had this conception of what it's going to be like, and you thought you were going to be really helping people, helping them transform their lives, and you're going to help them overcome their blocks, and you're going to help them examine their shadows and things like that. And then you get to the point where all people want to know is what are they thinking about, what is their romantic partner thinking about them right now, what are their thoughts and feelings, what are their motivations, what's the long-term potential of this relationship. And then it becomes you start to see through time that you almost become an enabler for low vibration energy. And this idea of low vibe clients versus high vibe clients becomes ever so much more clear for you, because you start to realize that I had this vision that I really wanted to help people transform their lives and help them get unstuck so they can find their purpose and manifest whatever they want in their life, whether it's a soulmate or a twin flame or a financial abundance, or they want to manifest a business, or they want to manifest a career or something along those lines, right? And then we get to a point where we get disillusioned and we start thinking, man, this is not what I signed up for, So, yeah, good comments too. Yes, okay. So you get to the point where you're like, well, is it me? What am I doing to attract these types of clients? What am I doing to attract the types of clients that I can only ever get so far with, right? They tend to be people who are paying on the lower end of the spectrum. So I would say anything less than, say, $50 for a psychic reading, okay? Just to give you an idea, psychic readings per hour are averaging anywhere from $200 to $300. And so if you're charging anything less than that, that could be an energy leakage. That could be a portal in which there just tends to be a flavor for low paying, low effort clients. And I'm not talking about people who can't afford to pay you. There's a big difference here, right? So it's about how much of your time, energy, wisdom, experience are you selling access to, right? So a lot of you, I'm sure a lot of you, your skin crawled when I said $200 an hour, right? $300 an hour. You're like, oh my God, I don't think I could do that, right? So that's okay. If you're not ready to make the jump into something like that, and maybe something like $50 to $75 is more doable for you, here's where you can kind of shift your mindset to start attracting higher paying, higher effort clients, soulmate clients, right? So maybe instead of charging $200 for an hour, maybe you charge $60 for 20 minutes, okay? And so that way you can start to play around with some of these higher pricings, but not giving your time away for free and not undervaluing your time, just selling your time in like smaller doses and making yourself more accessible versus more affordable. Okay, because affordability tends to correlate with certain types of people who tend to not really be all that invested in doing the work with you. People who tend to be reliant on such things like fortune telling, doing predictions, getting timelines, psychic spying, all those kind of things that, if you like to do that, then that's totally fine. But a lot of us, I would say 80 to 90% of us, there comes a point where we begin to vibrate out of that. We begin to vibrate out of the easy clients. And I think in the beginning, we all tend to think that this is just what it is, right? So we didn't really understand what we were getting ourselves into. And now we're doing all of these love and relationship readings when actually we really want to be doing life purpose readings. Or maybe actually we really want to be doing career readings, right? So how do we make that shift? How do we shift from that place of being just a tarot reader, just a psychic, to being something more, being, say, a leader in your community, being a voice in your industry, being a spiritual life coach, being someone who attracts regularly people who want to do the transformative work and vibrating out of that whole fortune telling, wanting predictions and things like that. And there's nothing wrong with that. Some of my best clients are completely soulmate clients. They're completely in charge of their destiny. But every once in a while, it's fun to just do a little bit of fortune telling. But there's a difference between that being the central focus and being an enabler, and then, doing it because it's fun or it can add to the service or it can inspire someone, right? But the majority of the sessions, the majority of the work that you do with someone is shadow work based, is healing based, right? Helping people with their limiting beliefs, helping people with their negative self-talk, helping people raise their confidence, helping people become more confident in their own spiritual journeys so that they don't have to necessarily come to you as a gatekeeper for their spiritual experiences, right? That's not to say you can't have a very lucrative business being that, but I think most of us here aspire to be something greater. We aspire to have a purpose, because otherwise, you might as well just go flip burgers. I mean, it's less effort and you might get paid more now. I mean, I think McDonald's is hiring at like $18 an hour now. So, just something to think about. So that's the first way to kind of shift this and use these different strategies in order to attract people who are looking for more of a spiritual experience facilitator, more of someone who's going to teach them skills, right? So we think of coaches, but really coaches, spiritual life coaches, there's 3 different ways that you can go about being a spiritual life coach. You can be just a coach who asks questions and help people, more like a psychologist type of thing. You can be a mentor, which is more of what I am, as I teach from my experience, I teach from my wisdom. That is primarily, I'm a teacher. And then you can just be a straight up teacher, right? So there's many different ways to kind of evolve your tarot reading or psychic reading business, but it's going to take some different types of strategies than you're used to. So some of the things that you're probably doing right now is you're probably doing like free cards of the day or free reading of the week. You're probably, writing blog posts and articles about reading tarot cards and things like that. And that is not going to get you soulmate clients. That's just going to get you regular run-of-the-mill clients, if it gets you any clients at all. Why? Why is that? Well, when you're doing free cards of the week or free readings of the week, you're looking, people are, before you even meet people, it's just a type of person that people are. They're either going to purchase something or they are not. Most people, their purchasing habits are about their personality, right? It's about their beliefs. It's about what they value. People who purchase things value things like education. They value things like experiences. They value things like other people's insight and wisdom, right? But when you're giving tarot card readings away for free, and it's not to say this doesn't work, it does, but is it attracting the type of clients that you ultimately truly want to work with? Because when you're doing, free readings and things like that, it's like the majority, 90% of the people that are going to be coming to you are people who are just that, looking for free things, that their personality is not a buying personality, right? People who purchase tarot readings and psychic readings typically are motivated to buy for reasons outside of just seeing you demonstrate a reading online. It's not all that helpful. Maybe have a couple of them up just to demonstrate a little bit of your process so people can connect with it before they book you. But truthfully, if you're doing those like all the time, even if it is getting you a little bit of clientele, if you are not getting the type of money that you want, it's because it's an inferior marketing technique. So how can you change that? What needs to shift and what needs to transform? Well, first of all, this strategy involves also making videos and making content, but the type of content that you're going to be making is going to shift considerably. No longer are you going to be allowed to hide behind the cards. I said what I said. You can't hide behind the tarot cards. You can't hide behind the oracle cards. You can't hide behind just showing your hands on video. You have to really be comfortable enough to step out and say, this is who I am, because people who buy services, they buy people. They don't buy the services. Do you understand what I'm saying? So they buy services, they can get services anywhere. But why do people choose to buy specific services with specific people? Because of their personality, because they feel a certain way about their energy, because their energy, their mindset, their opinions are valuable to them and they want to be inside of that energy, right? And so what that means is upgrading, leveling up the way that you make your video content. Instead of shoving out worthless, tarot card readings and psychic readings and predictions and things like that of the week or the month or the day or whatever, shift into educational content. This is shifting from content that has a shelf life. Remember my story about I had to shift what I was selling because my products that I had started in my first business, they had a shelf life, they expired. Your readings of the week, your readings of the day, all that kind of stuff, that has a shelf life. It's only good for that time. People are not going to go back and look at it. You are wasting your time. Shift into evergreen content, video content, specifically around educating people about who you are, what you do, how you help people. What are some of the ways that you work with people? What are some of the things that you can help people with, right? Creating this video archive FAQ kind of thing that you can have up on YouTube, that you can have up on your Facebook page. And this is going to be more attractive to people who identify personally as buyers versus people who don't. Because the more that you can take up space and express yourself as a business owner, the more that people who are just there to harvest your energy and not give you anything in return, they're going to be repulsed by that, because you're going to start you're going to start aggravating their demons, right? Their shadows and things like that. So if you have a lot of time wasters, if you have a lot of low effort people, if you have a lot of codependent clients, this is one of the ways that you can begin to really start to take up space online. And so when you do that, start to become a leader in your community. You start to become a voice in your industry. And that lends to credibility. And that is not something you can buy. You cannot buy credibility with ads. You cannot buy it with free readings of the week. You can't buy it. You have to be it, and you have to contribute to the collective of the industry in which you are serving, right? So why doesn't writing about, if you're a tarot reader, so then why doesn't writing about tarot cards and things like that work? Well, think about it. Who is searching for that information? People who want to learn how to read tarot cards. Now, unless you are a tarot card reader who also is a tarot card reading mentor, who teaches people how to read tarot cards, and that's your main niche, that technique is not going to work. So you cannot educate people on your methods behind your psychic abilities, your methods on how you read tarot cards and things like that, and then think that someone's going to read that and they're going to be like, oh, this person's really smart. Let me book a tarot card reading with them. No, they're going to go, wow, this person's really smart. Let me copy and paste all this information, put it in my notes, and then I will probably just do my own tarot card reading later. Okay, so that's going to be the majority of the type of people when you start doing that. All right, so someone said, I stopped that. Yeah, okay. So stop doing that altogether. Shift into educational content. Well, how do you shift into educational content? Well, you have to start being really niched down into something that you become known for, right? So instead of trying to be what I call the Walmart of spiritual services, where you're doing love and relationship readings, and you're doing career readings, and you're doing birthday readings, and you're doing astrology readings, and you're doing life path number readings, all this kind of stuff. Think about the readings that you really, really, really want to do. When you start getting into the energy of conscious, intentional marketing, you have to stop thinking in terms of big box stores. You're not Walmart, you are not Big Lots, you are not Amazon, you are not, what's that one, Kroger or whatever it is that you go and buy the membership at. You're not those places. So stop modeling your business after that. One of the best things that you can do is you can niche your business for a period of time. I recommend niching for about 2 to 3 years, okay? So if you want to make lots of money, niche in love and relationships. It's 80% of the business anyway. Become a love and relationship coach. Become a self-love coach. Become an expert in attracting and manifesting your soulmate or your twin flame. Create courses about self-love, working on shadow work when it comes to loving yourself, building up your self-esteem, things like that. That's how you're going to get the clients in that you really want to work with. Now, does that mean that you have to stay in that niche forever? The answer is no. You don't have to. One of the things that people tend to have an issue with is staying in a niche long enough, talking about a topic long enough for people to even start taking notice. Did you know that most SEO is at least a minimum of 90 days to even begin working? And then if you really want it to work and start returning people to you, it's at least 6 to 9 months? How many of you have spent that long in a niche and given it that amount of time, creating your educational content, creating signature sessions and packages that are around a specific niche? Maybe you want to be a psychic development mentor. Well, maybe you should create a 3-month package where you help someone work through their psychic abilities, right? How many of you have thought about this as a point of attraction and, seeing this as a way to attract people who actually want to do the work? So shift into educational content. Yeah, it means that you're going to have to put yourself out there, and that's terrifying. But you know what? So is living with imposter syndrome. And I guarantee you, as someone who has created hundreds of hours of content over the last 13 years, 400 plus videos on YouTube, that the only way to work through imposter syndrome and actually conquer it for good is to just keep showing up. That's how you win. Are you brave enough to do that, right? Different strategies to attract different levels of effort, different levels of quality, these types of things. Next, all right? So you've niched down a little bit. You're on Etsy. You're on the psychic hotlines. You're starting to get more clear about who you are. Now what? Now you need to do ideal client avatar work. How many of you have heard of that? If you have heard of ideal client avatar work or client avatar work, let me know in the comments. Have you heard of that? What is it? Have you ever considered it? There's a lot of people who think they know what it is, but they don't really know what it is, okay? So sometimes business coaches will teach ideal client avatar work like, you know, create a personality that you want to sell to. What's their name? What do they look like? You know, what is their specific job and all that kind of stuff. And while that can be a very fun visualization exercise, I have never found that helpful. It's more important, in my opinion, to put thought and energy and effort into understanding why a certain person might purchase something. What events in their lives, what thoughts, what negative beliefs, what limiting beliefs, what are these issues that this person is dealing with? Not what they look like, not what their actual job is, not what their name is, you know, that's silly. But the psychology, marketing is psychology. You have to have a good foundation in understanding what motivates people, understanding how to find out what people value the most. Yes, it's helpful. Never considered it. Okay. So how do we do that? Well, I think the easiest way is probably to start with your niche and then just kind of ask yourself some questions and think about it, right? So let's say you're a professional psychic, but you're also a psychic development mentor, and maybe you teach, mediumship. Okay. You teach people how to do mediumship readings. And you have this really great package. You have this 6-session package. It's $1,500. And you meet with them 6 times for an hour, and you're going to help them become a medium. And you're going to help them awaken their mediumship abilities and things like that. Now, when you're sitting there thinking about how am I going to market this to someone? How can I communicate? Marketing is communications, right? How can I effectively communicate that I am the right teacher for them, or that I am so enthusiastic about helping people with this, or that I'm confident that this is something I can help someone with, right? And if you're not sure where to niche, think about what area of your own spiritual journey you are most confident in, that you have the most experience in, that you have seen the most transformative work in your own self. Remember, if you want to help people with transformative work, you have to transform yourself first. You have to be your own, very own first client. You have to be your shining example, right? Otherwise, it's inauthentic, and people can feel that, and it feels icky, and people aren't going to trust that, you know? So you're sitting there thinking, okay, well, what is it about me as a medium? What is it about what I think or feel or believe that is different from everybody else who is also a mediumship mentor? Because I know that's another thing people deal with is, well, there's already 5,000 mediumship mentors out there, and is there enough clients for me? The answer is yes, because people are attracted to certain personalities. They're attracted to certain auras, and they're attracted to certain people who think and feel and believe differently than other people, right? And they feel that they believe similarly to themselves. You understand what I'm saying? So you have to think, well, I'm a really strong clairvoyant. That's something that I can do really well. And so the type of person who I think would benefit most from, taking a course with me or doing a coaching package with me is someone who really, one, demographic, desires to have strong clairvoyancy, has clairvoyancy, but it's not always strong. It's not always consistent. Someone who is very strong in their clairvoyance, but wants to learn different techniques in order to expand it, ignite it, make it bigger, make it more impactful, right? So that's your niche, psychic development mentor, your demographic. People who want to be clairvoyant, people who are clairvoyant, but they need more consistency, people that already are very strong clairvoyants, but they want to connect with people who are teaching a different technique or strategy. Learn something new, right? Those are always going to be your demographics, no matter what your niche is. Okay, let's apply it to a different one. You're a love and relationship coach, right? You specialize in helping people prepare for a soulmate relationship, all right? Or mending soulmates. You specialize in soulmates. So that's your niche. Your niche is that you are a love and relationship coach, and then your sub niche is that you specialize in helping people manifest soulmate relationships. Okay. So, what is your demographic? Well, what is something, instead of asking yourself, what is something I do really well? Ask yourself another type of question. What are some life experiences that this person has gone through? The person that wants to manifest their soulmate, what are some life experiences that the person has gone through? And how can I effectively communicate to them that I am the right coach for them? Okay. So just off the top, there's no wrong answers, but there's so many different answers, and just kind of depends on what your specialty is, right? But you could say, well, one of your demographics is someone who has maybe never felt like they've ever truly been in love, has maybe doesn't have a lot of issues attracting people that are interested in them romantically, but just doesn't feel like they've ever truly fallen in love, and that they've ever truly felt like this person was a soulmate, and they start to question, how do I even know that this person is a soulmate? What are some feelings I'm supposed to feel? That could be one demographic. And the way that you market to that person is you release content related to that topic. 7 signs that you're in the presence of a soulmate. Okay, is this making sense for everybody? Let me know if this is clicking. Maybe one of your other demographics is someone who was in a soulmate relationship, and maybe something happened. Maybe they broke up. Maybe that soulmate passed away. Maybe, anything could have happened. Maybe they're just no longer, that person wanted to move across the country. The other person didn't want to move. They had to split up, right? And now they're wondering, what are they wondering? They're wondering if they're ever going to manifest another soulmate, right? So maybe another one of your demographics is people who have manifested a soulmate in the past and wonder how they can manifest another soulmate, right? Maybe they just need a lot of confidence building, doing shadow work around self-confidence, esteem, that sort of thing. Maybe another demographic is someone who gets along really well with people, tends to really connect with people, tends to think almost everybody is their soulmate, right? You ever met this person before where everybody could be their soulmate, but their energy is so out there and so wild and so loose and so unorganized, right? That they need to learn how to pull their energy back and learn about boundaries and learn about red flags, learn about the relationship between, empaths and psychic vampires, or narcissists and codependents, right? So then you would start creating content around that topic, right? So this is how you position yourself as someone who can create content beyond just doing tarot card readings of the week, just, writing about tarot cards. It really asks you to really go inside yourself. And the problem is that a lot of us aren't doing our own shadow work, are we? And a lot of us, it's not our fault. We don't know that there's shadow work to do. But you can always tell if there's shadow work for you to do whenever you have a negative thought about yourself. Whenever you have a negative thought, or a negative thought about your potential, or a negative thought just about abundance in general. Like, for example, I specifically focus a lot in my trainings on the shadow work around deservingness. And that kind of stems from concepts like dismantling identities that we have kind of built up around societal expectations, cultural expectations, ancestral karma expectations, all of these false identities, you know, and it's so normal for you to start out thinking that you want to be in one niche. And the niche that most people choose at first is the niche that they need the most healing in their own life with. So as you start to begin to work in a niche that you yourself need a little bit of help with, a little bit of consistency with, you start to heal yourself, you know, and then you realize, oh, this isn't actually the niche that I really wanted to be in. This is just what I needed at this time to get myself out of those self-destructive, self-sabotaging habits and behaviors, right? So these are the strategies that I recommend. I recommend, just to recap for you, I recommend niching, finding out what your niche is, settle on that, settle into it for 2 or 3 years before you move on to something else. Switch over from creating content that has a shelf life to switching over to creating content that is evergreen, that is educational, that is based on your ideal client and your ideal client's demographic, right? Getting really serious about who your demographic is, leaning into the psychology of it. And these are things that you have to study in meditation, or you have to work with a coach like me who has, you know, just to give you an idea, I have over 8,000 people that have come through my academy in 13 years. So, and most of those people I have a relationship with, which is incredible. Even if they're not working with me now, we're still friends, you know? And so working with someone like me is really valuable in that aspect, because I have been able to learn about the psychology, the demographics of basically our whole industry over the last 13 years, which is really just incredible. So I have taken all of the knowledge that I have and putting it into an academy, the Profitable Psychic Business Academy, where this academy is now 8 years old, if you can believe that. It's crazy. It started out as something else. Started out as teaching angel courses and teaching how to do angel readings, morphed into marketing and things of that nature, because that's just, after I worked through all those little niches that I felt like I, you know, needed to work through, then I settled on marketing, and that's been what I've been focusing on for the past 8 years now. So, you know, shifting in your niche and things like that, that's very normal. It's very normal to fluctuate in between there. And it's always when you start feeling a little bit jaded, or you start feeling like this has become work, that you realize, oh, maybe it's time for me to elevate my niche. Maybe it's time for me to elevate myself, my position. Maybe it's time to move on to the next demographic, right? So how do you know when someone is a soulmate client? This is what I want to leave us off on. And these are some things that I asked you guys in the group earlier today. You know, how do you know that you're even working with a soulmate client? How do you know? How do you know? It's a good question. Well, if you raise your prices and you work on your demographic, and you begin to attract people that actually want to do the work, that's one of your first clues. Doesn't mean they're necessarily a soulmate client, but that you're at least on the right track. And these people can become soulmate clients, right? I know someone is a soulmate client when we can communicate more psychically than we communicate verbally. I also know I have a soulmate client when they take steps to find out their own information instead of relying on me to ask every single question. You will have clients that see you as their personal magic 8-ball, you as their personal Google assistant. And my soulmate clients, this is a really silly example, but it's powerful because it's about personal responsibility. For me, if it's as simple as looking something up on Google and that person takes the initiative to do that, instead of asking me to find that information for them, it says that they're not showing codependent tendencies and that they can be trusted to manage themselves. People who are self-reliable, self-initiating, self-responsible, those are my soulmate clients, because then I know that I can instead of doing the little tedious stuff, I know I can focus on the big work. I also know that people are soulmate clients when I don't feel any sort of like anxiety around them. Now, having anxiety about getting on a call with someone for the first time or something like that, or pitching something to someone for the first time, or doing a reading for someone using a new deck for the first time, or using a new spread for the first time, or trying out a new mediumship technique for the first time, that's normal. But what I mean is like, I don't feel anxiety about this person's going to be messaging me all night. This person's going to have unrealistic communication expectations. If there is breathing room, if there is space, and it's a comfortable space between me and the other person, I know that person is part of my soul family, because we are able to respect one another's boundaries. We're able to respect one another's spaces. And when you have two, especially because I'm a powerful psychic and the people I work with happen to also be powerful psychics, when you have two powerful psychics coming, it can be very explosive. It can be almost manic in a way. And so we have learned as psychics to kind of manage our energy by just pulling our energy back just a little bit, right? Giving each other, a couple days to respond, rather than, hey, did you get my message? Hey, it doesn't stem from this place of insecurity, right? And so if you have clients that you're attracting that are insecure, they're not going to be soulmate clients, because they have so much stuff that they need to work on first before they can be in a space where you can really do the big work with them, right? I also know that people are soulmate clients when they look like me. And what I mean by looking like me is they're not clones of me, but they might have funky color hair, or they might really like the color purple, or they might have tattoos like I do, or they might really, really like Korean food and they post about it all the time, or they might be a foodie or something like that, or they might be an animal lover and have lots of cats and dogs and things of that nature like I do, right? So whenever I see myself mirrored and reflected back to myself through interests, through passions and things like that, that's a soulmate client. I also know someone is a soulmate client when we share similar values and beliefs and ethics and morals. Doesn't mean that we agree all the time. No two people will ever agree 100,000% on everything, right? But for the majority of things that we do. It might be taboo to say this, but do they have a similar political belief as you, right? Something to think about. Do they believe in the same movements that you do? If you're really into recycling, if you're really into saving the shelter animals, if you're really into cancer research for St. Jude, if you're really, or Mercy's, if you're really into, I don't know, whatever, fitness, things like that, whatever your interests are, you will see that reflected back out to you, because that's you being your most authentic self. We're all so scared to be our most authentic self. We're all so scared. We have to feel like we have to put this mask on all the time, And in some ways we do. We have to put our professional face on. We have to put our professional hat on. But that doesn't mean that we can't express attraction points that are more intangible, that they're more about passions and like what's in our heart and things like that. And the truth is, I think that the sooner you just start being yourself, the sooner that you start showing up, the sooner you're just going to be a success. You're going to be a wild success. And you're going to wonder why it took you so long to get here and be on the other side of this fence with us confident psychic people who are earning a living and helping people and not compromising on our goals and not compromising on the types of clients we want to do, not compromising on our expectations and our standards, and being in this network of people, especially here in this group during this summit, where you get to connect with other people who want more, who want to be more, who want to have a bigger, higher purpose, who want to make a bigger impact in the world, right? So I have a couple things for you here. Let me see. I have a free quiz for you. If you are new, you probably have not taken it. What it is, okay, so it's a free quiz. It's called Discover Your Soul's Calling. It's a free quiz. And what it does is it asks you 5 questions. And yes, in 5 questions, I can help you identify exactly the business model and the type of coach, spiritual entrepreneur that you can be. And it's completely free. So let me see if I can pin that. No, can't pin it for some reason. Okay, that's all right. But there's the link, all right? I want you to take that quiz. It's going to ask you 5 questions. Then you're going to get a result. Your result is going to be a combination of 4 different archetypes, okay? So the first archetype is the healer. The second archetype is the warrior. The third archetype is the shaman. The fourth archetype is the mystic. All right. And each of those are going to have a different purpose. They're going to have a different business model. They're going to have different price points. They're going to have different demographics. They're going to have different methods of marketing. They're going to suit them. And so personally, I am a 50% warrior. I'm half and half warrior and shaman, and I have a little bit of mystic in there. So if you want to know about me, take that quiz. And then at the end, you're going to be able to watch 1-hour trainings on different aspects of those different archetypes. And so those trainings will tell you like how you can get started into spiritual life coaching right away. Now, for those of you who are actually ready to start working with me, maybe you've been here for a little while. Maybe this is, you've been lurking here for a little while, and now you're like, well, maybe it's time I start actually doing something about this. I have a couple different ways that you can work with me. First of all, I have simplified everything at the Academy, www.theprofitablepsychic.com. That's my website. That's the Academy site. It will link you to a different website, angelicrealmseminary.thinkific.com. Same website, just change the domain name. All right. So I have 2 different levels. So first of all, if you are new to e-commerce, and if you're like, Psychic Hotline sounds like a good place for me to start, Etsy sounds like a good place for me to start, then you're going to want to enroll in the level 1 bundle. All right. If you are someone who has been reading for a while and you're wanting to get into spiritual life coaching and you're wanting to learn how to do more ideal client avatar work, the Market Yourself as a Spiritual Life Coach, it's called Mystic to Mentor. It's a bundle that you can purchase. And what it is, it's a very deep dive on ideal client avatar work. And it includes a lot of like introductory information about things like how to improve your copywriting, what you need to know about creating educational content, what is the structure to that, how long should your videos be, how do you find topics and things like that of that nature. And it has a lot to do with shadow work as well. Now, I also have one more offering that I want to talk about, and that's called the Luxurious Lightworker Lifestyle Program. That is a 1-year program. It is the equivalent of a 4-year business marketing degree. And I just kind of want to show you a little bit about like what's in that class. So there are 36 1 to 2 hour trainings in it, and tons of resources, templates, scripts, printables, all that kind of stuff. And then there are additional guest teachers that I had come in. We just filmed that last year, so when you enroll in that, then you get immediate access to everything. All of my courses are already done. All of my courses, none of it's on a drip feed, none of it's on that. As soon as you enroll in any one of my courses, you just automatically get access to everything. So this is what I wanted to show you. Oh, you guys want to see a cool blast from the past? I found this while I was cleaning. That's me and my cousin, me and the purple hair. That's me and my cousin in the 90s. As we were listening to Sublime and wearing our cool shades and probably watching Austin Powers. Anyways, so this is just some of, look how much is here. And on top of that, I've got like a whole nother stack of papers that I have not even put in here yet. But there's things like finding out how the law of attraction really works, finding out your most powerful psychic abilities. What is cornerstone content? Step-by-step processes on how to create videos. Quizzes that you can ask yourself about your boundaries. Vibration map, how to shift your vibration, how to help your clients shift their vibrations. There are portfolios here that you can fill out, templates that you can fill out, and all of that goes to, like, if you want to submit yourself to podcasts, if you want to start, you know, being a guest teacher and things like that. Talks about how to create guided paths of learning, talks about how to tier your academies, talks about how to create academies, how to shift from just selling your one-on-one time to then instead beginning to create courses in different business models, and kind of how you do that. And so what I did in this course is I took 25 years of knowledge and I segmented it out into 6 specific phases of business. So there's like startup, there's building credibility, there's building your audience, right? Different segments. And then I went and created 6 individual trainings for each of those segments. So basically, the Lux Lightworker program is designed to help you get from your first dollar to your first million in sales, right? So I will give you guys the link to that. I want you guys to check that out. I have it currently on sale. It's normally $1,000, okay? Because it's a big course. I have it currently on sale for $597, and you can do a payment plan on it. If you need a payment plan, just communicate that with me. We can do that over PayPal. We can also do that through Thinkific. So I have payment plans available for that. Casey says it's totally worth it if you want to move up. Thank you, Casey. Casey is doing phenomenally now. Casey has taken, I think, all of my classes now. I think you're a lifetime member, Casey. I think you're all access pass. I'm pretty sure you are now, at least now. I think I added everything to your account, but you know, Casey started his own podcast now, and he's, you know, getting out there filming videos, and he's doing the Psychic Summit with us. And you know, if you want to start seeing momentum in your business, start working with me. At the very least, go to my YouTube, start watching my videos, start paying attention to what I post in this group, start being a member of our community. So I want to say thank you to everybody who is here. Hello to all of our old members. Hello to all of our new members and everybody in between. I hope that you guys will have a very exciting time this week. We have 2 more workshops today. We have 3 more workshops tomorrow. We have 13 total free workshops this week for you. Tons of free gifts, tons of free resources, and replays will be available for a limited time. If you signed up on the student portal and you signed up on there, then you will get the replays also in there as well, okay? But the main replays are going to be in the featured pinned section of the post. And I really, really hope that you consider joining me in the Academy at whatever level that you want to do, and so we can start working together to make your business a success. Thank you guys, and I will see you guys in the group.